It's down!
A society with a foggy past and an uncertain future is one that is truly lost. And such is the reality for the denizens of the world of Horizon Zero Dawn. Roughly 1,000 years from today, tribal communities lead primitive lives, surrounded by mysterious high-tech fossils of the old ones, the fractured legacy of our real, actual world, the result of technological advancement run amok. Small animals like rabbits and boar still roam the wild, but they trot in the footsteps of imposing mechanical beasts that dominantly stride through dense jungles and lurk on snowy mountaintops. How the world ended up in disarray isn't clear at first, but Aloy, an orphan outcast who locates an advanced communications and analysis device, holds the key to unlocking these mysteries. Using her newfound tool, known as a focus, you can tap into techno-artifacts and glean info about the past. While the full story of the world's downfall takes a while to unravel, the fascinating revelations you uncover more than make up for time spent navigating less than compelling tribal politics during the first half of the game.
What did you say?
Find your bed, outcast, and dream of winning the proving. That's the closest you're gonna get.
And thankfully, no matter where the story takes you, combat deservedly owns the spotlight. The world's intricately crafted environments teem with electric beasts and warfaring cultists, and the pronounced excitement of controlling Aloy in the midst of rampaging enemies is a near constant thrill. This excitement comes in part due to Aloy's ability to deftly leap out of harm's way and bound right back into action, but her arsenal of weapons and ammunition are the special ingredients that give you the ability to topple Zero Dawn's massive robotic monsters. You start with a simple bow and arrow, but you eventually gain access to elementally charged bolts, slingshots that lob explosives, and an assortment of traps that can surprise or constrict unsuspecting enemies. Dodge rolling between enemies, turning around, and jumping to deliver a critical blow while drawing and aiming your bow in slow motion never gets old in Zero Dawn. There are no actual supernatural powers on display, unless you count the fact that Aloy's focus can pinpoint enemy weak points. But nevertheless, when the controls seep into your subconscious, heroic displays of cunning, might, and fearlessness lend Aloy a superhuman quality. Unfortunately, melee combat is far less effective. Your only options are to issue a light or heavy spear attack, and when fighting indoors, you're more likely to hit a wall than your intended target. But thankfully, you're never forced to use melee, and can always revert to fighting with a mix of evasive maneuvers and projectile weaponry. Where you face small bipedal watchers and approximations of horses and bulls at the start, you eventually engage with rampaging armored crocodiles, jaguar-like bots with cloaking devices, and yes, giant enemy crabs. By the end of the game, you can confidently roll into battle facing a towering metallic T-Rex, knowing full well that you are in control, despite your relatively diminutive stature. A well-placed shot on a body part that glows through Aloy's focus can knock off a piece of armor and expose a robot's vulnerable innards. It's also possible to disarm enemies and use their own weapons against them. Your standard weapons are effective enough, but nothing beats picking up and firing a massive laser cannon as a result of tactful aggression to finish off a fight. Where combat is at the forefront of Zero Dawn, you also habitually gather any resource in reach as you travel from point A to point B. Plants and pieces of animals and robots alike are necessary for crafting Aloy's ammunition and traps, upgrading item storage, and brewing health potions. When it comes to making items, it's as simple as looking through a crafting menu and seeing what is or isn't available based on your inventory. On the other hand, selling items is a pain, as there's no way to sort your inventory at a store. For a game that manages to handle complex systems in real time with aplomb, it's odd to see something as basic as inventory management fall by the wayside. As you trek across Zero Dawn's map, you'll run into tribes and communities. Most are modest, just a few shacks, but a handful of miniature kingdoms offer sizable populations of merchants and quest givers. At best, typical side quests are vehicles that propel you into the far-reaching wild with some semblance of narrative motivation, but it's common to find the personality behind the mission far more interesting than the ultimate meaning of your objective.
I wasn't judging you. I was an outcast once.
With larger questions and destinies at play in the main quest, Zero Dawn's sub-stories simply can't compete. On a more positive note, you eventually come across alien-like constructs in the open world, and at the heart of each of these intricate, otherworldly dungeons is a machine that will give you the power to hack robotic animals. Some robots will simply fight on your side or leave you alone when hacked, but a few allow you to ride on their backs. Granted, this option is limited. No, you cannot ride a giant robot T-Rex, but it's the one argument for the game's stealth mechanics, as you can only hack a robot by sneaking up to it without being noticed. The dueling themes of nature and technology in Zero Dawn's open world are also embodied by Aloy. Her life begins as a member, albeit an outcast, of an isolationist tribe, but she's forever changed when she accepts technology into her life. Her focus device is the source of not only her abilities, but her connection to the world and its past. Her past. Aloy transforms in so many ways throughout her odyssey, and it's amazing to look back when it's all said and done, reflecting on not just the challenges you've overcome, but also on how much confidence and maturity Aloy has gained in the process. Zero Dawn is the first departure from the Killzone series for developer Guerrilla Games. And though you might think the team took a risk by stepping out of its FPS comfort zone to create a third-person open-world action game, you'd never know it was their first rodeo. For every minor letdown, there's an element of greatness that recharges your desire to keep fighting and exploring. Guerrilla Games has delivered one of the best open-world games of this generation, and redefined its team's reputation in the process.